Hello, everybody. This is hilarious. I went live on the wrong stream tonight. We usually don't have this many streams lined up. We had the attorney, Nan Gallagher, here waiting patiently through my quick intro. I wonder if y'all heard it. We're doing a fundraiser tonight for Karen Reed or Turtle Boy. If you make a $5 or more donation tonight, it goes to the Karen Reed or Turtle Boy Defense Fund. You can grab a sticker. We have the email address. Send us confirmation. Trying to raise money tonight for the Karen Reed Defense Fund. I'm just laughing at that. What I just did, that was so funny. It shows you how overtired and overdone I am right now. But we have such a big week this week. Nothing can get me down. I am so excited. We got to get Nan. Let's make sure we get Nan back on the show here too. I had her up and then I had to drop her because I was on the wrong stream, like a thunder thunderhead. Just gonna keep sending her to her. Oh my god, this is hilarious. There she is. Let's bring her up.
Cannot hear you. I cannot hear you.
You can't hear me now?
Um,
We heard you earlier. You hit your mic, baby? Actually, you know what? If you hit the 3 dots on the right, on the bottom, you should be able to change your audio. Maybe that might be the issue. Oh. Um, this is so funny. She was ready to go too. Are you back? Still working on it? You can't hear me.
you can hear me through,
You can hear me, right?
so I can troubleshoot my sound.
Yeah. You know, maybe try shutting down or removing yourself from StreamYard sometimes works. This is I'm gonna remove her from the studio. See if that will uh try that. Maybe if she comes back. I had her up too on the other stream. This is all my screw up. This is not her screw up. Yeah, come on back in, Nan. This is hilarious. I hope do you guys see the stickers tonight? Let's bring up the stickers. If you want a sticker, there's that one. There's a young jelly one coming in, I think tomorrow. If you want one of the stickers, donate to the Karen Reed Defense Fund or the Aiden Carney Defense Fund. Let's hope we get her back. Just keep messaging her. This would be the funniest, shortest show with a guest ever. Yeah, you need a young jelly sticker. I got to shout out all the shows. Mazza Media did another fundraiser for Karen Reed today. LTL just did a huge fundraiser for Aiden Carney. Auntie Deb's been doing fundraiser shows. I know Nurse Kim, Calling All Beings. There's been a lot of fundraising going on, and it makes me happy. It makes me want to do more fundraisers. You guys took all my envelopes last week and took all of the stickers we have, so I ordered more, and that's what we're doing tonight. We're going through the donations to the Karen Reed Defense Fund. I want to thank LaFerio. She just became a YouTube member. I hope she comes back on the show. I removed her to see if it would help with the audio. Sometimes that works when you come back in cleanly. So I'm hoping she just comes back in now. Let me check the Twitter. She's responding over there. Thank you so much. Let's look at what we're doing for fundraising over here too. While we wait, see if she can come back up. See right there. There's Nurse Kim. You know what I'm saying? Mazza Media today. I salute these YouTubers. More Mazza Media, more Mazza, Nurse Kim, Mazza Media. And I support everyone who's watching too. I know not everyone can donate, especially every time that we ask, but you just watching and supporting and sharing, it all helps. It all helps. You're part of it. Like all you should just be as proud as we are of every dollar that comes in. I hope we get Lothario back up tonight. This might be my short show tonight. Thought it was going to be a great show, and it turned out funny. It's just weird, and it was my fault from the go. I had sent her the right link, and she was waiting over there, and then I sent her the link. I jumped in the wrong StreamYard, and she was perfect. And then she came back on this link, and it didn't work. I don't know, great. Yeah, I know. I couldn't change the description. I would have had to go upstairs to the other computer. I just didn't want to do that. I thought it would be fine to just have her back on here. Hmm. Maybe she thinks I booted her. I don't know. Maybe she. So we're waiting for. You know what? I could play a little video too. Improvise. What do you guys want to hear about that we haven't talked about? 'Cause I was going to ask her about some specific things. Let's bring this guy up. Let's if we're going to do it, let's bring this guy up. We talked about him with one of the other attorneys this week too. We have a new attorney tomorrow night that I want you to check out. That's going to be a fun show. And again on Thursday we have Andrea Burkhart, which we're gonna have to reset up that stream because I screwed that up tonight. God, me and tech, I really try. It's so funny. I really need a producer, I think. Sarah says, "But through it all, you never went on mute." Well, that's true. That's a plus. I'm finding new ways to screw up the show that aren't mute. Man, it is okay. We'll be, I'm happy. I'm happy about seeing people throw down to Karen Reed over and over and over again. And Turtle Boy too. We're looking at his tonight too. Let's bring his up. There we go. So those are the fundraisers. And if we're not gonna get Alfario back, not sure what happened there. You guys can call in too. I'll throw in the link in the chat if you want to talk about something this week. Especially if you want to talk about Betero. I'm still fired up about that. Maybe you want to talk about this post this week. From Matt, an attorney who said this reeks of desperation. I have to think the defense team is trying to change the narrative. The defense team misrepresented their relationship with the ARCA team to the court, but wants to somehow blame it on the Commonwealth. The motion is unlikely to succeed. He's talking about the motion to dismiss. I don't think it reeks of desperation at all. Are you back? Can you hear us? No, she can't hear us. This is funny. You're on mute right now. Maybe that's why we lost. But yeah, so maybe you want to comment on that too tonight. Matt, the attorney Matt. I don't think the motion to dismiss is reeks of desperation at all. I have Nan on the screen, but she's muted right now. So if she figures it out, we'll have her on. Um, yeah, what else? This too. I think I mentioned this to the last show. Going back to the Betero. Oh, actually, this is on S guest. I thought I had the Aiden stuff up. But Aiden put out a statement too about Betero, basically saying he and Karen Reed both signed an affidavit saying it was okay. But the judge overruled them. Like they're mentally incompetent, which I find is way overreaching. And happily angry lawyer, he's going to be the guest tomorrow night. And this is one of his recent posts on Twitter. Check him out. I guess he has also was involved in the YSL court stuff. So maybe this will be a short show. We can't get Nan up here. I think we lost her. He was good on YSL, huh? See, I didn't know. I haven't watched it. Well, I want to know what. Tell me about that, Amber, in the chat. What was his involvement in it? I guess I'm going to find out tomorrow night, 6 p.m. here. And again, we're going to do another fundraising show on Wednesday night too. So if you want a sticker tonight, see the still. Actually, let me bring myself up large. Yeah, I sound like can't get rid of that. Sound like I'm having issues here. There we go. So upside down. That's one of the stickers tonight, right? That's the smaller sticker. This is the next size sticker up. It's still pretty small. Both of them will fit on your phone or computer, definitely. And then you got the Young Jerks, and you got the mid-size sticker, which is coming in this week, which is the Young Jelly. So if you kick in tonight, either donate to Turtle Boy Defense Fund or the Karen Reed Defense Fund, $5 or more. You take a screen capture of it. You send an email, mjcboston at mjcboston1 at yahoo.com. And that's our fundraiser tonight. Turtle Boy Defense or the Karen Reed Defense Fund. We had some technical difficulties with attorney Nan Gallagher on my end, and then it seemed like on her end. I'm not sure what's going on with the StreamYard, but basically I started the show in the wrong stream. And she was perfect. She was on like it was. Sometimes this stuff happens live shows. Thank you so much for the donation to help for postage. Yeah, I spent over $50 on the last fundraiser just in stamps. It's amazing. That's how great it was. I love to. I want to spend more money this week. I'm hoping to spend like $100 on stamps. You guys, I want many of you, many envelopes of stamps go out. That's as many donations to go to Karen Reed and Aiden Carney. Play the all cool Turtle Boy clip. I don't even know which one that is. Is the all cool Turtle Boys X clip? Please try hard. I have tried. I don't know what more I can do. Maybe I can text her. It wasn't working. She texted me. She said she's having sound issues. She had standby. It seems like she's still trying to work on it. So we're holding down the fort. If she calls in, we're here. We're watching. Yeah. Thank you. Get Maz on. No, I'm not gonna ask Mazza tonight. I'll just say it. Wednesday night we're gonna do another fundraiser show too. And Mazza Media will be here and LTL and some other YouTubers. So I'm looking forward to that Wednesday night. We'll wait for Dan. If Dan doesn't get back up, then it is what it is. We get it. We all get an earlier night. I wouldn't mind having an earlier night tonight, even though I was all amped up. I wanted her on the hip. She's just trying again. It's like she's on mute. She just went off mute. Let's bring her up. Hey, Brady Gallagher, how you doing? Are you still there?
I am. I'm so sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm very sorry for keeping everybody waiting. I was working on your other stream, and then the minute I hopped onto this one, everything collapsed. So, Mike, I want to extend my apologies to you and all of your audience. I'm still new at this. So anyway, I'm sure I missed a lot, and I will talk fast to make up for lost time.
It's not your fault. It's my fault because I screwed up. I mean, I'm old at this, and I sent you the wrong friggin' link. I was in the wrong stream.
Should I pretend I'm Andrea Burkhart? I think I was on her link, but
Oh,
anyway.
thank God you said something when you did, because that would have bugged me. And there's no like with the new computer, I'm not logged into everything. I'm not logged into my YouTube on this even, so I couldn't have changed it. Like normally, I'd be able to change it, but it's like I'd have to run upstairs to the other computer still. It's just like, oh my God,
You
it's
know
the
what?
worst thing to do.
To everybody who's watching, this is a clear indication that we are only human beings. And what better do you have to do right now than to sit and have like a really great chat with two old friends? And I get to see Mike again, which is always a pleasure. And I
Oh,
just
thank you.
wanted to just interrupt for one moment and say that one of the Free Karen Reed supporters had sent me my Only Nan t-shirt.
Oh,
And
nice.
there's like a little picture of me. So
Oh,
I think she's watching right now. So I just wanted to say thank you. Anyway,
isn't that sweet?
yes, it's awesome. I got to really meet a lot of people the past week on my surprise business trip. And it was such a pleasure being up in Massachusetts. It was what a week, right, everybody?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm happy to chat about that, Mike, or answer any questions, whatever you'd like.
Well, I haven't even been watching the chat tonight. I did a little bit earlier, but since you come on, I'm just like, we'll see what happens there. But because I'm just excited that you're here now, that we got this far in the show after all this. I gotta say, I'm the one to blame. Like you didn't need to apologize. It was me that screwed up the beginning of the show tonight.
That's
I'm
okay.
looking excited. We're doing this fundraiser, but I'm excited you're here too. Because I have this stuff that I'm bringing up, like this guy, this attorney Matt, who said the motion to dismiss this reeks of desperation.
Mm.
What
Excuse me, Matt Timpanick. You need to know how to spell reeks. I don't think that's how it's spelled. But anyway, that's just me poking fun at another attorney who seems to think he understands this case. So it does not reek of desperation. Sorry to interrupt you.
what do
Yeah.
you think? What do you think about the motion to dismiss? Like what
Yeah.
about the different parts of it?
Okay. So first off, in case people don't realize this or you don't realize it, I was in the courtroom. So I got to, just by way of background, I was a lucky girl last week and got to receive an invitation from Ms. Karen Reed to come up to Massachusetts to sit in court with her and her family. And I stopped everything and rearranged my life to get up there. I was really looking to get up to Massachusetts when it was a little bit warmer. So, but it was a big week for that motion. And I also wanted to see Aidan Carney's motion to dismiss as well, which unfortunately, due to seating constraints, I was unable to. But I was in the courtroom for the motion to dismiss. And that motion in no way, shape, or form reeks of desperation, any component of it. And just so you know, Mike, and I can go into specifics for you or specifics for your audience. Oh, thanks, Chuck Luck. It looks like reek is spelled correctly. I stand corrected. But I took over 35 pages of notes in the motion to dismiss. That was my like real-time play-by-play analysis, not just of the substantive arguments raised, but of the what I call color commentary of what transpired while I was in there. So I'm really happy to give some of those insights down to Alan Jackson being absolutely jacked during that argument. I mean, let me step back a moment. I was very honored to have met and shook hands with, and actually to have lunch with Alan Jackson, David Yannetti, Mark Betterow, Bobby Alessi, and Karen's family. The reporter, I think her name is Julie Miller from Vanity Fair, some interns who worked on Karen's case, and then some other individuals whom I don't know who they were, but I certainly said hello to. And in that very short time of having lunch with Karen and her team, I feel I'm astute enough to know when Alan Jackson is jacked, and he was jacked at not only that argument in the quote morning session, which was really kind of the afternoon by the time they got back from the federal habeas petition. But then after a ways of arguing, Alan Jackson kind of said, I have 45 minutes left. And Judge Bev called for a lunch break. So we did have lunch together. And when we returned to court, and then Hank Brennan gave his opposition, which I've got lots of comments on, Alan Jackson gave what is known as a rebuttal, and that was just absolute fire. If he could have held like walnuts in his hands, he would have cracked them with his bare hands. But that motion itself had so many different issues in it, down to Brady violations, and real nuanced exculpatory evidence related and impeachment evidence related issues. Because a lot of people think that Brady evidence is, or Brady violations only involves the failure to disclose something that's exculpatory for a defendant, something that would, in other words, prove or help to prove her innocence or disprove guilt. But Brady evidence also includes valuable impeachment evidence that the defense can and should be able to use when cross-examining witnesses. And the defense team brought up several examples of that, one of which was the extremely egregiously late production of videos from the Sally Port, multiple videos from the Sally Port, some or one of which shows Brian. I keep calling him Kevin because of Kevin from South Boston. But Higgins, him being on the telephone at approximately 1:30 in the morning, when he had previously testified under oath in at least 1.0, possibly at a grand jury proceeding, that he did not make any phone calls that night. And as we all know and remember, he didn't even have any recollection or frankly denied having any communication by phone with Brian Albert in the middle of the night vis-a-vis the butt dial that sailed 1,000 ships. So that would have been valuable impeachment evidence. And when I heard Alan Jackson say, that would have been nice to know, he kind of quoted Hank Brennan as of a week or two ago when he was making his snide arguments.
Yeah. Yeah.
I found that was a really good use of throwing prosecution's words back in their face. But the motion itself was very powerful. And I was saying this on a stream last night for a fundraiser for Aidan Carney, that it is my feeling, not only having read the motion to dismiss, but also obviously observing the oral argument, had I seen it on YouTube or in person, that in the unlikely event that Karen was convicted, there is enough very strong evidence and arguments presented by the defense team that if she were convicted, there's enough here to appeal and to overturn a conviction. But I don't like to get that far ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What about this jury tampering stuff? What do you think about that stuff that is also in the motion to dismiss?
Yeah. So just to give everyone some insight here, juries they're very hallowed. You're not supposed to have any interference with them whatsoever. And the whole jury tampering issue it seemed to be over dramatized by Hank. He made it sound like Lieutenant Fanning didn't go anywhere near this jury. He would never. He's an upstanding officer, and he would have done things right. Which I'll touch on that in just a moment. What really concerned me from the outset, which is where Judge Bev started the entire proceeding, where Judge Bev kind of went at Alan Jackson and the defense team right away, basically saying, or I know Lieutenant Fanning had nothing to do with this jury. He didn't have control over them or access to them. She, in my opinion, and in my personal visual observation, crossed various lines that day. The judge, in my opinion, and these are mine, not of the young jerks, in my opinion, a judge is never to make himself or herself a fact witness. For her to have asserted with such strength and, frankly, certitude that Fanning had nothing to do with this jury was foolish. It was presumptive. It was, frankly, it led me to think that she conducted her own investigation on the subject, which is wholly improper. And the judge is on the bench all the times, or she's working in her chambers, or she's at a grocery store or at her home. It was very conclusory for this judge to very aggressively go back at Alan Jackson, saying Fanning had nothing to do with the jury. How do we know that? How does she know that? And Alan Jackson was making arguments that, you know, it's real hard as a lawyer when you have a judge or an adversary coming at you saying, well, how do you know that? How do you know Fanning had something to do with this jury? And Alan is saying things like, I don't know. What I want to know is why I wasn't given the opportunity when I asked at sidebar for that opportunity, and I was denied it. You did not give me that opportunity. So he wanted and still wants to have an evidentiary hearing to explore it, and for the judge to kind of shut him down, at least preliminarily, because I think it was left open-ended as to whether he will indeed have an opportunity to explore it. That's improper. But to go one step further, Mike, with regard to the jury tampering, or the touching, as I like to call it, of the jury by the commander, I have all the notes, but whatever he called it, the commander of the blah, blah, blah for jury security. And in that regard, Fanning doesn't have to have access, control, or any other type of noun that you want to put in there that sounds really direct. He was, by all admissions of the prosecution, the one who headed the operation to just oversee the safety and sanctity of the jury. Now, I am paraphrasing. There's much more minutia to that. But as Alan Jackson said it himself, there's really no one higher than him. And there's so many coincidences that we can tack on to this pile of, where does credulity end? And, it's just ridiculous here that these coincidences are quite remarkable, specifically with regard to the discharge of, by all appearances, a very pro-defense juror 6 weeks after an alleged incident happened where that juror may have been or may not have been compromised, or may have been not comporting herself properly. So the whole tampering issue must be explored. I can predict now, based on the judge's behavior at the beginning of that hearing, as I described, she's not going to allow it. But the one last point I wanted to make on this, Mike, is that Hank Brennan, who was, by the way, sweating the entire time he was arguing, if anyone wants to know, I'll give you that color commentary. I was sitting about 10 feet away from him, and he was sweating and shaking while he was arguing, which, by the way, it's just an observation. I've sweat myself making some tough arguments, so he's only human. But when he was making his arguments on the issue of the jury and Fanning's behavior, it struck me that he was comparing Fanning to a court officer, those who are in the room and wear the white shirts, as I would say, the officers of the court. And Fanning is not that. Fanning is a law enforcement officer. So Jackson was very keen on redirecting that argument. And frankly, the defense wants the goodwill of the court employees. It's always good to have their support when you're on trial and make sure that you're being respectful, ethical, and kind when dealing with them. But for Hank to kind of say that the defense is somehow insulting the morality of court officers by impugning Fanning, really, that's a gut punch to an attorney. And Jackson made sure that he corrected that misstatement, one of many, by Brennan.
Wild to see that some attorneys think it's no big deal, that mad attorney thinks all of that. I mean, especially if Fanning was the one who actually called it in about that juror, I mean, that should be looked at. That would be very suspicious.
Well, it should. And for your audience, like, I'm sure many of your audience doesn't just follow the Karen Reed case. And I'd mentioned this recently. One of a similar, not exactly on all fours, but a similar issue arose in the Alec Murdaugh trial, post-trial, about a year plus ago, where he was convicted. And it came out shortly after the trial that the court clerk, the clerk of the court, think of someone like Jim. They say Jim is Bev's court clerk, where the court clerk was alleged after a conviction. It came out that he had, or in Murdaugh's case, that Miss Becky, the court clerk, had improper communications with all or some of the jurors. And that it resulted post-trial and post-conviction in an inquiry and an investigation by a separate, unaffiliated, non-conflicted judge, one who was actually retired. I believe she used to serve on the Supreme Court of South Carolina, and she was brought in to conduct an evidentiary hearing with all of the jurors to come bring them back into court. This is months, it might have been weeks, but it was at least months later, and they had to come in and give testimony. And she took testimony from the court clerk. That's what's supposed to happen. And after that hearing, which was televised, if anyone wants to look for it on YouTube, that after that hearing, that esteemed judge who handled it properly determined that there was no real net adverse effect by any communications by that court clerk to that jury in terms of the verdict. But she did, on the record, find that court clerk was not credible. And she did not believe that this court clerk did not have any contact beyond, what do you want for lunch, or what temperature do you like it in here? So that's how it's supposed to be done. And Bev handled it wrong. I'm interested to see how she rules on that.
If she rules against the defense, they really can't do much until after it's over. Is that right? Yeah,
that's right. After it's an appealable issue, but in my opinion, it's a strong one, because the influence on a jury, as you see with the federal habeas petition that was filed and argued this past week, the inner workings of a jury are so paramount and so just so sacred that nothing is supposed to influence them whatsoever. And it really causes someone like me to pause and say, well, why is the judge taking a stance on this? And for example, back in Murdoch, the judge at the trial level, he didn't take a stance on it. He said, okay, we got to get someone in to look at it. The fact that this court, amongst all of the other problematic rulings that are coming out, has pushed back so hard at the defense for raising reasonable, I mean, frankly, arguments that have to be raised, or else Karen's going to have an immediate cause of action against them for lack of effective assistance of counsel. She's going to have appealable rights if her attorneys don't do their job properly. And I'm telling everyone they're doing their job properly, and the judge is not making it any easier. So, yes, I see someone mention Judge Newman. Yes, it was Judge Newman. He's a good guy, and he handled things properly.
Excellent. Chat is involved today. There's so many. You mentioned another, appealable things.
Yeah.
Federer not getting allowed as her defense. Could that be appealable? What do you think about the whole Federer thing too?
Don't get me started. But hold on a second. I made a specific note, Mike, and I want to make sure I adhere to it, because I know you have an affinity towards Betterow. And I mean, I was in Disney World last week. I got to go to dinner with Mark Betterow.
Is that fun? Did you laugh with him?
Did I laugh? I don't think I've stopped laughing since I had dinner with him. And we run in the same circles but have never crossed paths, and let's just say we get along. We think very similarly. I'm not Betterow. I am not Betterow, but I will just quickly tell you an aside. It was unclear just to me specifically how I was getting into the courthouse, and all the boots on the ground who were so wonderful to me. If anyone's watching and I had a chance to meet you, thank you very much. You guys were great. But everyone's like, you're walking in right behind them, and they're like shoving me right up behind Karen and her team. And I
They
just
do the arm out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. In many states, it might be assault, but they're shoving me behind Karen's team, and I'm running up the courthouse steps. And when I get up the steps, I'm out of breath, and I look over, and I'm standing next to Mark Betterow, and I almost pinched myself. And I shook his hand, and I said, "Mr. Betterow, would you mind if I took a picture with you?" And he's like, "It's Mark. And yeah, take our picture." And I loved every minute of it. And we just really clicked. But anyway, that was a little aside. I enjoyed my dinner with him as well. I probably got home much later than I should have. And as far as that decision is concerned, I've seen different lawyers take different stances on it. I will give you mine. I do not like how this went down. I understand the judge's decision, that the judge has imposed her opinion that there's a non-waivable conflict of interest in terms of Mark Betterow representing Karen and representing Aidan Carney. I understand the decision. I disagree with it. And here's why. One, at Mark Betterow, it by all intents and purposes is an ethical attorney. He is. He actually,
Totally.
I know with certainty he would have never even considered this type of representation if he was not ethically composed and capable of representing both Karen and Turtle Boy. With that said, when you consider the judge's decision and how she reached it, here are my critiques. One, there was no formal challenge raised in an appropriate manner in writing by the prosecution. This
Right.
was, you have Hank Brennan saying,
Yeah.
I don't oppose it, but I have concerns.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's not, Mike, that's not the way it's supposed to go down. The way it's supposed to go down is if you have an opposition to any application, including an application to admit an attorney from out of state or out of the licensure jurisdiction, you file your opposition in writing. Brennan makes a pattern of not doing this. And then when he does on other related matters, he just gaslights and puts factual inaccuracies in them. So it was procedurally flawed in that the Commonwealth, through its prosecution, did not properly oppose that motion. So therefore, in my opinion, and many people can disagree with me, and I don't care. In my opinion, it was procedurally flawed and she should not have ruled on it. The other issue I have with this is that Judge Canoni, in reviewing what are called rules of professional conduct, they're the ethics rules for lawyers. She has reviewed them in Massachusetts and listened to these unsupported concerns of Brennan and then reached her own conclusion without setting forth the basis for her decision. Now, I'm not saying she didn't set forth a basis. Like if you read that decision, she set forth that, there's no way Betterow could somehow receive information from one client and then not share it with the other or withhold it to himself to the detriment of one client in terms of concurrent representation. She set forth that conclusion. What she didn't do was get into the substance of it. And I really mean this, how are Karen Reed and Aidan Carney related? And by related, I don't mean by, family related. How are their cases related? I want someone to tell me that, because from what I see, Aidan is journalistically writing and asking questions and being satirical in how he's asking questions and really strongly asking them. But that doesn't mean that he is somehow affiliated with Karen Reed, whether he's had a conversation with her or not. I know from what I've learned that there was some prior attempt to indict them for some method of either witness intimidation or communication on the subject. And I tell your audience when I'm not sure of all the facts, but there was no indictment issued as to either one of them. So, for all intents and purposes, it's not concurrent representation. It would not have been Karen has interests and Aidan has interests, and they are at odds with each other, which they're not. And therefore, I can tell you that Mark Betterow, as any ethical attorney would have been, with proper ethical disclosures and conflict waivers and review by an outside ethics attorney, all of which were which took place, he would have been able to properly manage the representation of Ms. Reed and the representation of Turtle Boy without exchanging secrets and confidences between the two. So, long answer short, Mike, I think it was the wrong decision. And if she's going to go and continue to be this publicly and offensively biased and imbalanced in her decisions, then she really needs, in my opinion, to drill down on the specifics of her decisions, because this is a non-specific decision. And I'm sorry to you, Mark Betterow, if you're ever watching this. I'm also sorry to the Free Karen Reed community, because you've all lost. I mean, you kind of lost him a few weeks ago when he was brought up, so to speak, on what should have been rubber stamped. But now he can't represent Karen, and he can't, from what I understand, guide and help further instruct the Free Karen Reed movement. So I'm sorry for that, but he will talk one day, and I'm here for it. I'm going to take a front seat to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to when he can talk too. When Betterow is on leash after this is over.
Yeah, that's a good analogy based on your chosen trade, Mike. I like that.
Yeah. My follow-up question on this is, why does Bev, the judge, why does she allow Hank Brennan to get away with it? Like, not even putting it in writing. Why does she let him lie in court? Why does she do that? Why is she doing that? What do you think?
I have a limit in terms of answering that. I can say she's biased. I have my suspicions, but I will say There's a saying in German, which I am not of German descent, but it's called Stille Wasser gründen tief, and it means still water runs deep. If I got that wrong to anyone who's German in the chat, I apologize, but a former employer taught me that. And I think this does run much deeper than like a personal animus towards the defense, which she clearly has. In fact, I said on a stream in the last few days, I could feel her sighs, meaning her SIGHSs, just wisping across my cheeks. The huffing and puffing, it was like Goldilocks. She does not in any way, shape, or form visibly vibe with the defense. They are a nuisance to her. She's wearing her heart on her sleeve. In my opinion, she's giving female jurists and lawyers a really bad name because you have to keep your emotions in check. But it runs deep, Mike, and it's real problematic. And I'm not going to stand for it anymore.
You brought up Aiden too. Hank Brennan is now asking for Aiden Carney's phones in the Karen Reed case, which to me doesn't make any sense for like what you said. Like they're being charged with different things.
Yeah.
Karen hasn't been charged with witness intimidation. Aiden isn't being charged for murder. So like how does that even happen? Like how is that going to be allowed that they're going to give Aiden's phones that were seized for a different case? Like this is that even allowed? Is that like legal to do that?
So is it legal? I mean, an attorney can ask for anything in the form of, court relief. They can ask for a subpoena to get anything they want. Whether a judge agrees that it will produce relevant, admissible evidence is another story. In any other courtroom, in any other jurisdiction, a judge would not grant that request. However, in this courtroom, I'm forecasting that she might. And that's unfortunate because it's not illegal for her to authorize it, but there needs to be some realistic tie to the anticipated procurement and substance of the information. Now, I know from being a viewer of Turtle Boy that, he takes the position that, take my phones. Like if there's an order for my phones to be handed over, there's nothing on them, that would be of a substantive or in any way productive nature. He doesn't really care. Does that mean he wants his phones taken? No, he doesn't want that. But ultimately, I think this is another fishing expedition. And all this stuff does for me is show me that Hank Brennan and the Commonwealth are too busy playing defense on this matter and then trying not to advance the case against Karen Reed, which is the duty of the prosecution. What they are showing me is all they're trying to do is kneecap her defense, trying to knock out Marie Russell, trying to knock out Richard Green, trying to knock out Arca, knocking out Mark Betterow, trying to get witnesses in like Crosby and Gilman, who I'm happy to talk about those motions as well if you want, but trying to get evidence in that's only going to kneecap Karen's defense. That's not in any way a good faith advancement of charges and proving a case against Karen. So what does it tell me? He's afraid. And he should be. And that's why I saw him shaking. And I look forward to and sweating. Let's not forget that. I look forward to going back. So I can look and see and assess how this it's just a game for him. Karen's team takes this so seriously. And I want to make it one last point on this, Mike. When I say I was lucky enough to have lunch with Karen and her team, I just want everyone to understand my experience having that lunch. This was not, people chuckling over linen tablecloths and, having the time of their lives. It was a quick, light lunch in a private room where really no one is to know where you are because you're essentially either have positive or negative notoriety in the community. And Karen and her team of litigators basically huddled in one corner to themselves and talked about the case, which I didn't hear. I just saw people fired up. But Karen was intimately involved with her team over soup and a salad, while the rest of the people were just, they're a little bit more of a quick social nature. Karen is so invested in every piece of this case, and so are her attorneys. Like I've actually never seen anything like it. And one other quick aside, Mike. Um, Mark Betterow and I, we practice in New York. I even said to him, I'm like, I don't think we're going to make it back from lunch in time. They had 1 hour there and back to this restaurant. And, I had said to him, I'm like, I'm used to eating like dirty water dogs at the cart outside the courthouse if I'm lucky, just so I can get back in on time. And he says, yeah, I was nervous too that we were not going to get back, but it all worked out. And, I just figured your audience might like to hear a little bit indirectly from Betterow if I can be, a puppeteer for him.
Yeah, I think everyone's missing him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they also judge just approved a gag order.
Uh,
Is that
yeah.
ridiculous or what?
Well, it is when you all think back to Meatball Morrissey's 2023 completely unethical and unprofessional public statement / hostage video where he was happy as the elected prosecutor for the jurisdiction to comment on the truth and credibility of fact witnesses and to essentially offer opinions on the guilt of a defendant who, by the US Constitution, is presumed to be innocent until proven guilty. So if the prosecutor is allowed to do that, it is my opinion, and I don't think I'm alone, that Karen, from the moment that happened, and it doesn't stop, from the moment that happened, she has had to go out of her way through her team and herself and whatever means she may have to kind of refute that. Because Meatball Morrissey, in my opinion, he's the one who tainted any potential jury pool, whether it was for 1.0 or 2.0. I mean, that statement is still readily available. I don't know why that hasn't been scrutinized by ethics commissions up there. Maybe it has. But Karen, it's my understanding that Karen's team of lawyers is no longer permitted to make public statements. And I think there may be more to it than that. I don't remember off the top of my head. But I can tell you, she's gotten enough out there thus far through her team to really do herself and her team do themselves much service to spread positive messaging. And the boots on the ground and people like Aidan Carney and content creators keep that messaging going. But with a trial that's going to start in, I don't know, maybe in 3 weeks, and I'm still dubious as to April 1st, it's okay. It's okay that there's a gag order. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that it's an unsupported, again, request by Brennan, just inequality in how she rules. But it will be okay. And she has all of you, including you, Mike, and others, and all of your chat to speak up for her. I saw firsthand, and by no means am I a soldier, but I saw firsthand the strength and the camaraderie and the good nature and the impact that the boots on the ground had last week. And that is not even during trial time. So that will go a long way. And, I would encourage anyone, if you can keep showing up, please do so. She needs everything. She needs all of your support. I'm sure it fuels her. And it certainly, if anyone wants to know, Judge Bev consistently looks out that window. She consistently looks out that window. Now, I don't know if there will be a buffer zone, and I frankly don't know the area well enough to know exactly where that starts and ends, but I counted like 10 times during the motion to dismiss. She just kept doing this, looking out that window, looking out that window. She's watching. And if I were her, I'd watch a little harder because people are starting to really scrutinize her due to the completely imbalanced number of decisions that run in favor of the prosecution. I remember the first time I was on your show, and this is number 4. So keep asking me, Mike. But the first time I was on your show, I said, can someone please run the stats on how many times she rules in favor of the prosecution, whether it's for objections or otherwise? The stats are ridiculous. I don't know them, but it should never be this way. And I hope she takes a lot of criticism over the next few weeks over these rulings, but we'll see what happens.
The rulings are wild. Like you mentioned earlier, the dog expert that she put in.
Oh God, seriously, like, yeah. So the dog expert is, hold on, he's Crosby. Yeah.
That's
So
Crosby.
so just so everyone knows, like when I was there, when those motions were being argued, the ones for the dog expert, who's a veterinary behaviorist, and then Gilman, who's the meteorologist, and I believe both were argued by Alessi. I was in the basement of the Registry of Deeds, which is across the street with a lot of boots on the ground. And it's actually very hard to follow exactly what's being argued and going on down there, just because it's, there's a lot of people and there's 1 or 2 laptops, and you know, I'm hoping to be able to improve their setup in the coming weeks. So stay tuned on that. But with that said, I was unable to follow all of the minutia of how those motions were argued. But the next morning, while I was on the treadmill, I was running early the next morning, and I caught up and I did a bunch of notes. And Alessi did a great job in arguing that those motions. And as far as Crosby's concerned, this is probably one of the most notably apparently biased decisions and improper decisions that the judge has entered. Do I think it's going to be, completely detrimental to Karen's team and Karen's defense? No. And I'll explain why. But just so everyone understands, the judge who previously ruled in leading up to trial 1.0 that only a medical expert, a doctor, can testify on causation of injuries, which is actually kind of common, that many jurisdictions and through their case law will determine that only a medical doctor can offer those types of decisions. You're still there, right? Oh, are you calling something up, Mike? All right, good. If you guys can still hear me, somebody show me a thumbs up, because I've had some tech issues
Oh
today.
yeah, we can hear you. You're fine.
Oh, okay. So only a medical doctor is in this jurisdiction supposed to testify on causation. Now, I previously gave some opinions on streams that's actually not been my experience in other jurisdictions, but I respect her decision. Many times biomechanical experts, for example, can offer opinions on causation of injuries, or medical examiners, like a medical examiner who perhaps didn't do an examination of a particular injury can offer those opinions as well. But with that said, what Judge Bev has done is completely contradict herself and allow, I don't know his first name, but Mr. Crosby he's going to be allowed to offer opinions on causation. So he's a veterinary behavioral or behaviorist. Someone needs to tell me how a doctor who treats animals is able to opine about dog bites on a human being, because that just defies logic to me. But let's go a couple of steps further on that for a moment so everyone doesn't lose their minds. This ruling, which is notably biased. Like I'm offended by it as an ESQ, but it is so biased. It's slathered in bias. But this decision presents new opportunities, and I'm all about looking forward. Looking forward, I see a few things. One, the defense should be filing probably what's called a motion in limine to allow the judge to reconsider a prior ruling in 1.0, which prohibited Dr. Rentschler from ARCA, a biomechanical expert, is my understanding of his particular nuanced experience, to allow Rentschler to offer opinions on causation. It's kind of like what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yeah,
If Bev
exactly. Tit for tat. I mean, come on.
tit for tat. And not only that, Mike, and I'm sorry for rambling, I'm a little fired up. But not only that, if she's going to if she's going to allow Crosby to offer these opinions, Rentschler should come in. And I think we all can agree that Rentschler is very qualified. I mean, we don't need to get into
Definitely.
the whole how much qualifications does ARCA have. But in addition to that, the defense will likely seek to elicit more opinions from the medical examiner, Scorty Bello, on causation here. Because if anyone wants to look back at Scorty Bello's testimony, she kind of drew a line. I forget what the specific questions were of her. And it's probably worth, if you're ever not scheduling new guests, Mike, you might want to replay Scorty Bello's or go through her testimony previously, because she basically drew lines and said, well, I can't offer opinions on that. And they were specific causation related opinions as it related to the alleged dog bite and dog puncture wound injuries or dog scratches. So if Crosby comes in, Rentschler should come in. Scorty Bello should be required to cross that line that Judge Bev has so symbolically erased. The other issue I have with the decision on Crosby is that I get a lot of questions on this. Is it appealable? Can she go to, the SJC on this? Yeah, it's an appealable decision. I don't forecast that the defense will appeal that. I do forecast that the defense will likely keep, as far as the Betterow decision is concerned, I don't think they're going to appeal that. They're going to keep that in their back pocket. That's a strong appellate argument that if she's convicted, they'll want to raise.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the only way it gets raised is if she's convicted.
Right. And I apologize for not mentioning that before, because that has teeth. That's a deprivation of one's right to counsel. But circling back briefly to Crosby, the standard is, was it an abuse of discretion of Judge Bev to refuse to or to admit Crosby as this dog bite causation expert? And I just don't think it's worth their time. Then there was the other decision, if you want, I'll bring up, Mike, in terms of Gilman, the meteorologist, which is, I thought that Bob Alessi did such a fantastic job in arguing the motion as it related to Gilman. Gilman is, by all intents and purposes, a meteorologist. And, it was so fun in person to see Bob Alessi kind of arguing that, a meteorologist is going to say it's 32 degrees out with low precipitation and the ground is hard as a rock. I mean, come on, like everyone in the courtroom chuckled, not Judge Bev, not Hank, but, people chuckled, including people on the family of Officer John O'Keefe. Some of them chuckled as well, because you don't expect a meteorologist to be offering opinions on the hardness of the ground. And not only that, and I won't bore your audience, but he went through point by point by point in terms of what Gilman's not. He's not a geologist. He's not a hydro something specialist. He didn't set forth his methodology, which is really the Daubert standard as to whether or not this expert has the credence, the opinions, and the manner of really going through those opinions to offer them to a jury so that they understand. He also really was put in, how do I say this? Alessi really set forth the fact that any of the treatises that Mr. Gilman stated in his report were not tied in any way to his findings. So, Gilman said something like, and these citations or these treatises may be supportive of my opinions. You don't do that. You say my opinions are peer reviewed, or my opinions are supported, not maybe supported by these other published peer reviewed treatises, journals, etc. I think the judge made the wrong decision there. I believe she did issue that decision. If she didn't, I'm forecasting she's not going to bar Gilman. But so I apologize, everyone. I'm still coming down off of that trip. But anyone who's worth their weight in gold understands that there's no way of knowing or recreating whether or not the ground conditions at that time, based on temperature, the amount of accumulation of snow, the presence or lack thereof of ice, is enough to have caused a subdural hematoma and fracture for Officer John O'Keefe. It's way too speculative, but it comes into evidence and the jury's going to have to weigh it. It sounded to me from reading some tweets over the last couple of days that I've heard people say 12, but I believe it's 8 new witnesses for the defense that have been presented. So a total of 12. I believe there were 4 previously. They're not calling Sheridan, which was the medical expert, my understanding. But then there's going to be 8 more. And I don't believe I've seen who they are or if they've been.
It's going to be interesting. I bet this is probably a police procedure. I just have a feeling. Expert.
Wouldn't that be great? Doesn't that harken back to our first discussion?
Yeah.
I would love it. I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm as everyone can tell, I'm rambling and fired up on this stuff, but if anyone wants to get more fired up, go to Dedham. Go charge your battery up there. You'll feel it and you'll take it away with you just from the heart of the people to the beat of the courtroom, which I can't say everyone can get in there, but you'll carry it.
You can get a feeling for it just being out there, though. The outside, especially if it's the nicer weather. When I went, it was a heat wave. It was like we were all dying in that little church too. We had lunch. There was no AC even in there. Attorney Carl Steinbeck came on the show recently, and he said that he thought the defense should kind of gum up the works a little bit, push back more with the judge and the prosecution anytime they do one of these objections without stating what the objection actually is, that they should ask for a sidebar every time. What do you think about that kind of? Yeah.
I disagree, but I really like and respect Carl Steinbeck and follow him. And different attorneys have different opinions. But this judge, first of all, I do believe that there should be a basis for every objection placed on the record in the presence of the jury. Maybe not in specifics. You don't have to have a speaking objection, but you need to set forth what the objection is. Objection hearsay. Objection mischaracterizes evidence. You should say that. Then you can have a sidebar if need be, if the judge needs more information to make her ruling. But if what Judge Bev seems to be doing, and I don't like it at all, is she doesn't want anything put on the record. She just wants objection, and in her mind, she wants to decide, which I think is completely an abuse of discretion. She wants to decide what she thinks the objection, what category she thinks it falls into, and then to make a ruling on it. And I mean, I hearken back to what I said before, which is she clearly just rules in favor of the prosecution all the time. But to what Carl seemed to have been saying to you, if the defense is going to just push back at her every single time and ask for a sidebar and get her to commit or drill down on what is the specific nature of that objection and why she ruled a certain way, that trial will go from being presumably 10 weeks, which I think it will be shorter this time, but 10 weeks, and it'll go and become a 24-week trial. That will also annoy and frustrate the jury, and it will likely create, in my opinion, the unintended net effect of having the jury be annoyed with Karen's team, that they are the cause of the prolonged nature of the trial. So I wouldn't do that. But that's just me. Carl may do it and it may work for him. I don't think it would endear Judge Bev to the defense any more than she already dislikes them.
Would seem to be the problem right there. We get another number of super chats. I'm going to start reading some of them off. Some of them questions. Bobby Alessi's linguistic prowess says another mic drop moment was when Judge Bev tried to call out Alessi for Googling something, and he set her straight.
Oh, did he ever? Bobby Alessi's linguistic prowess. I love your handle. He did set her straight. He talked to the head. I don't know what it's in my notes. He's like, no, I consulted the head of blah, 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 blah. But that's a classic example, Mike, of like, that is so insulting of a question to a lawyer. It shows me just an absolute patent insidious dislike for the attorney. You just don't do that. So, but he put her in her place. And let me tell you something about Bob Alessi. I only said hello and I shook his hand. He's got a firm handshake, and he is I don't want to use profanity on your show, but he's a bad dude. That's
Tough.
what I'll say. He's a tough.
Yeah, he's tough. It's a tough mother.
But he was also extremely comforting to the Reed family, from what I observed. Very comforting.
Another comment came in from John. He says, if Crosby can testify, can he talk about he took molds of Chloe's teeth without any evidence that the dog was actually Chloe?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about normal courtrooms, John. In normal courtrooms, this would never come into evidence. The taking of the molds of Chloe's teeth without any authentication that Chloe is the actual dog would never come in, because in properly run courtrooms with proper enforcement of rules of evidence, you would only allow authenticated evidence in. And here, I don't know all of the behind the scenes, but I don't believe there has been any sufficiently valid, substantiated information that this is indeed Chloe. I mean, Chloe was a dime a dozen German Shepherd. And, I'll believe it when I see it, but I don't think that would come in a normal courtroom. I also thought I heard, and I don't like to kind of spread rumors, but I thought I heard at some point that the defense was either put on notice that these molds were going to be procured and were not given the opportunity to attend therewith. I thought I heard that somewhere, where they were not given the opportunity to join in that endeavor. But in my personal opinion,
Wow.
Mike, is that Chloe is in a pile of ashes sitting in an urn on someone's fireplace. May she rest in peace. I don't believe that she's still alive. And dog dentition changes so significantly over
Definitely.
time.
Especially when they get older. Like we take a lot of owners will take out teeth too. My Charlie, we took out 10 teeth recently.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yeah,
Yeah, and
they
well,
get
and
old. I mean,
especially if the dog is a chronic biter, which Chloe is. So, maybe teeth get loosened, dogs age, you're 3 years later, you know how dog years work, Mike, and I don't
I mean,
believe it.
yeah.
And also, as a big true crime follower, like, I know just from research and educating myself, and I'm not an expert, that actually it's really a challenged area of law as to whether or not the bite lineup, and I'm not even using the right word, is sufficiently
Indentation.
reliable.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
indentation.
yeah,
And
and
it's
that's
on all, yeah, it's all these weird words. And it's like the whole thing, the dog, it's been a few years. Like that dog, I have a feeling is old enough where if they have a good owner, they're probably going in for dental treatments and like, because it's very common now. Like I did it for my last two dogs, and it gets to a certain point where the vet will take out the teeth, so like, because the teeth are rotten, I mean,
True, and also, on this point, I'm two things. One, I believe Dr. Marie Russell testified during either the first trial or parts 1 and 2 of her Daubert hearing that, the bite of an animal is not just the puncture itself or the scratch itself, but the pulling. And that
tear
if
away.
the tearing away, I'm lucky enough to never have been bitten.
And whether they actually do bite down too, like, sometimes it's just with the front teeth. Like, I've been bitten a
Right.
lot because I work with dogs, wild dogs too, like good dogs, but a lot of times, most of the time, most dogs just give you the puncture with the front teeth.
Yeah, like
It's
a
almost like a warning. Yeah. Like, the worst bites are when they do go down, bottom to top, so
so that in and of itself, and I'm sure
and
that's
like you said, the tearing, that's where the most damage is done too. If they tear away, if they go down on both
right.
teeth and then tear away.
So if just in commonsensically, if an animal is going to bite and tear away, and then throw in the added factor of the individual being bitten is going to pull away. It's not just the tearing away, but the pulling away.
Exactly.
It those are things that to me, as a layperson who owns a dog, and that's the extent of my knowledge, I dare say I probably relate to most jurors in that respect. Why would the dentition of the dog and the mold of the dog's teeth 3 years after the fact be in any way probative to me or reliable to me? And under both of those standards, that is why Mr. Crosby's testimony should never come into court because it's
Definitely.
inherently unreliable. And, there's a bunch of evidence rules and cases up in Massachusetts which support what I'm telling you.
Very woo. Very, like, sketchy.
It's sketch. And the whole point, what gets presented to any jury, whether it's dog molds, dog dentition, deleted Google searches, anything, that evidence is supposed to be authenticated, legitimate, probative of something, not prejudicial to either side, but most specifically to the defendant. And it's just supposed to be relevant, and it's not supposed to confuse or mislead a jury. If it does any of those things, there is an entire structure of evidentiary rules in place and supporting case law which prevents that. So we don't want on either side there to be evidence that comes in that undermines any of those themes I just said to you. And Mr. Crosby's findings and molds completely contravene those principles. Therefore, in my opinion, should never come in. But I will forecast to you that there may be an expert coming in on a similar subject who's much more qualified from the defense, and that even if there is or is not, probably you'll see Bob Alessi doing the cross-examining of Mr. Crosby, and I am here for it with popcorn. It's gonna be fun.
Got some other questions coming in. This one's asking about a clip of a very biased Karen Reed documentary being aired just before jury selection starts.
A very biased documentary. So I'm not sure, Kerry, if the question is a bias towards Karen or against Karen. If you're referring to what I've been told is there's some documentary that's supposed to air around St. Patrick's Day from or on Investigation Discovery, which I was told is kind of more balanced or even leaning more towards Karen Reed. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to, and that is absolutely that's proper. I mean, it doesn't violate the gag order, and I really hope to see something more balanced. It looks like Mike's gone, by the way. So this is currently the Nan Gallagher show. But anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing something more balanced come out, and I'm thinking the timing of that is really. Oh, there you're back. I was gonna hijack your show, Mike. But
See, the dog alert went up.
oh, that's okay. But it'd be really apropos for some more balanced messaging to get out there. And I hope that and love you in the UK. So thanks for your question.
Thank you. We also had a question here. They want to know about cameras, whether cameras will be banned for the trial. Do you think they will?
I
The
don't
video.
think they will. Not in Massachusetts. No way. And by the way, if that happens, there should be a peaceful protest of that because for all reasons that you've already heard, even people like Vinnie Politan, who's a little polarizing nowadays, he would staunchly oppose that as well. But no, the cameras will be on.
Coffee Cake had a question. Where are we on the federal case?
So a federal habeas corpus petition was filed, argued by Weinberg last Wednesday. Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday the 5th. And I have it on good notice from sources that the argument went, quote, really, really well. And I do not know when a decision will be entered. In fact, I wasn't 100% sure it was going to be argued last Wednesday as opposed to just a conference to determine when it would be argued. So I was happily surprised to see that it was argued. I was told it went really, really well. And if I were to predict, there'll probably be a decision entered before April 1st. If there is no decision entered before April 1st, which, by the way, is lightning fast, like that's actually really fast if a decision comes out before April 1st. But if there isn't one, it is plausible that the federal court may issue an order staying the trial at the state level, or the defense team may make an application to stay, meaning postpone, temporarily the trial pending the outcome before the federal court, which I don't think Bev will grant. So we'll have to see.
Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah, of course not is right.
Of course not. On Bev. Kelly says, Olean, do you think they should file another motion to recuse to at least protect the record? And
Yes.
could that go to interlocutory?
By the way, Kelly, I love your handle. I always see you on Nurse Kim, and I laugh every single time. Every single time.
Let's read it. Kelly, if Chloe bit, you must have quit.
I love it. And when Nurse Kim says it, Mike, it just rolls off her tongue. I can't say it that fast. But anyway, I do think that another motion to recuse Judge Bev should be filed. I mean, who's going to upset her more now? She's already hates the defense so visibly now. It's like
Why not?
it's laden. You can feel it when you walk in that courtroom. So they're not going to upset her anymore. And honestly, I do not remember when they filed their prior request to recuse if they brought up her brother's prior Did they?
Yeah.
Her brother's prior
I thought it was her father, actually. I've seen people say the brother. I thought it was the father, but maybe I'm wrong.
I keep hearing brother previously.
Yeah, I do too, but I thought it was the father. I don't know. Like sometimes
way.
you're wrong, but you think you're right.
You wrong, Mike. You wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong. I don't know. Somebody's wrong on it. It's either the father or the brother, but yeah.
I do, and Kelly, I do think they should renew it. They got nothing to lose. I wouldn't renew it before she enters her order on the motion to dismiss, which I think she'll deny, by the way, that motion to dismiss, unfortunately. And it would not be in my opinion, I don't think it can be brought up for an interlocutory appeal. It would be a post-conviction issue to raise.
More or less, he has a question. Get that one up. Where was it? Here it is. My not so secret prayer bedroll will soon be licensed in mass. What do you think? Because that's not going to happen, right?
Well, if he gets licensed in Massachusetts, it still would not allow him to represent Karen Reed in this case. So the fact that he's pro hoc or applied to be pro hoc vice versus an admitted attorney in Massachusetts would not in any way alter Judge Bev's incorrect decision or ruling. But yeah, I think he'll apply for licensure up there. And he sure is giving Aidan Carney one hell of a representation with Tim Bradle. That was unbelievable, that argument, which I only ended up streaming after the fact. The Glarer was present in that courtroom as well as many boots on the ground.
I like this one. Amor of Lessie. Love of a Lessie. Is that the handle on that one? Is that what
Yeah.
that means in French? Yeah. I love the handles.
Oh, I didn't see the question though. Was there a question?
Although we just answered it. It
Oh,
was about
thank you,
better.
Amor.
We got it. I had a comment on that because they do post a lot here. Let me see if I don't want to miss any super chats. There's been a lot that came through. I posted some of them.
Well, you know what? Let's do something. I have like a hard stop around 7 10 or 7, whatever works for you, but for your super chats that come in between now and then, I'll match them and donate them to the Karen Reed Defense Fund.
Awesome.
So if
Let's get
anyone
some more
wants,
super chats.
it's 6:50 right now, and we'll see if any come in. But I would encourage you guys to go easy on me, and also, feel free to ask any questions, and I'll reconcile it later with Mike, even if we don't get to all of them. So, it's a Nan match. There you go, Glen Lake. I love it.
Here's a question that came in. Thoughts on Bev saying AJ corrected the inverted Sallyport video from the Commonwealth? So no harm, no foul.
Keep that up for a second there, Mike. I'm just making a note to myself. From Hank Morrissey Canoni, from his on, I'm chat matching, but now I got to read it. Bev said,
I think that one came in before your match, but I'm trying to still catch up.
Hold on one second. Bev saying AJ corrected. Oh yeah. So the whole no harm, no foul approach that Judge Canoni took with AJ on the whole inverted Sallyport video, it was maddening. It hasn't been corrected. Not only has that ridiculous debacle that happened in court in 1.0 with the inverted video not been corrected, one of the issues now that has arisen is there's more Sallyport videos that have been produced. I think there are 4 different angles now. And did your audience, I'm sure you all saw what I call the exemplar video. So you had Hank produce a video from like 30 something days before the alleged incident, and he produced that video with that Sallyport angle, and that was inverted, and the whatever you want to call it, the chyron or the timestamp on it was in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Why did they have that video if it's a 30-day overwrite? And why is the chyron or timestamp in the wrong place on it? I will tell your audience for color commentary that when Hank showed video and photographic exhibits during the motion to dismiss in the argument, when he did that, here's 2 comments. 1, highly improper. Okay, you don't do that. You don't put up demonstrative exhibits during a motion to dismiss without specific notice to either side and the judge's permission to do so. If you guys recall, during prior motion, before 1.0, at one point, Alan Jackson and Ms. Little wanted to hold up a chalk or, a poster board of something. I don't remember what it was for. I think it was challenging Auntie Bev. It might have been the motion to recuse. And she immediately said, take that chalk down. Ms. Little, take that chalk down. So why does Hank get to show these demonstrative film images in the courtroom without permission, without authentication, without metadata that is so questionable to begin with? But let's hold that aside. For color commentary purposes, the defense team pointed, smiled, and chuckled. when he did that. And they weren't doing that because he was being improper. They saw something in
Yeah,
those videos. And at the time, it's kind of hard. It's like you're at the football games, you're not watching on TV, which is sometimes easier to do. When those went up at the time, and as you all know, I'm a little visually impaired. I was like, what's going on here? And I really couldn't see the nuance of what was on the screen, which is so poorly situated in that god awful little courtroom. But I did see all of the defense counsel chuckling amongst each other. They actually looked happy. So stay tuned on that.
you know what's happening right now?
What?
The super chat's going wild. I'm not gonna be able to keep up.
That's
They're
okay.
all throwing down. Here's one for 49.99 from Bill. He said, "Nan match, hashtag Nan match."
That's
Nick
great.
Knock, Nick Knack just sent 9.99 for the Naninator. Free
Yeah.
Karen Reed, free Turtle Boy.
Hey guys, just keep showing the mic. I promise I will bother Mike this week, and we'll either he's got access
Can
to
we
his
can we
channel.
split it? Can we split half to Turtle Boy and half to Karen? Is that
Yes,
cool?
but
Yeah. All right.
we'll do half to Aiden and half to Karen. Okay, we're modifying the Nan match. But Mike,
9.99 for Tanya, and then we got another 9.99 from Mallory. These yeah,
guys, you're gonna
unbelievable.
bankrupt me. No, I'm kidding.
And then there's money from We Are Nan Nation here
That's great.
from Tooch. There's also Kelly. She threw in $5.
What do
She
you
said, "What do
feel?
you feel the judge will decide on Aiden's dismissal?"
I think the judge will dismiss all or most, Kelly, of the charges against Aiden. Maybe not the most recent one that came down this past week, but yeah, he was feeling Bradel's vibe.
And then this one has a question. Did you see the look Hanky gave Karen when giving accolades to Fanning?
Oh, I saw it. And did you see the look that Karen gave Hank
Yeah,
when
right back.
oh, I mean, seriously, and one point on that, and don't worry, guys, if I don't see your chat, I'm gonna square away with Mike in the coming days. So everyone chill, right? But uh Hank Hank made these facts. He kept saying fact. Lieutenant Fanning is this, he's that, he's the best thing since sliced bread, he's amazing, blah, blah, blah. How the heck does he know? I was so happy to see AJ state that during his rebuttal. Did Brennan do his own investigation? How does he know how ethical Fanning is? And God, like I was driving home from Massachusetts, and all I saw was and have learned is now there's some business that he had with Colleen Crawford that suddenly was closed on February 2nd, 2022. This smells like a large pile of you know what. And AJ and the defense team are going to have a field day with it. So, sorry, I
Oh,
get pretty
look at
passionate.
all these matches. We got Crystal. Thank you for the match. We got JADZIAL
Jadzia.
1969.
Jad,
Yeah,
Jadzia.
you send in
That's right.
pounds. Well, I'm gonna have to convert that one.
Oh,
We
man,
have
you're
Bev's cognitive issues for 4.99.
awesome, guys.
Joanna Marie for $10. Amazing.
Love
They're all
you.
ever since you said match, they're all coming in.
See? I look, guys, I like to inspire you. Just keep showing up. I did something similar on the Glare stream a couple weeks ago, and he said after the fact, he's like, I started to get worried for her.
I know. That's what I'm starting to say. I
It's
guess I
great.
missed a comment. I've missed a few comments. I'm gonna try to get back to them. But guys, there's so many super chats coming in now. Nan match for Magnolia Gypsy. Natalie, she just did a donation as well.
That's
This is a
great.
question that came. Another lawyer said that the ship is sailed on asking for a recusal. Why? Why do you think this
I'm the other
lawyer
lawyer
said
who
it?
said it, by the way.
Right.
To you, I actually wrote that on Twitter. That ship has sailed. I don't think it's worth it. Do I think they should do it to preserve their rights? They should. But unless another lawyer actually agreed with me, like I actually put up on Twitter the other day that ship has sailed. Like she's not going to now recuse herself. but it's worth preserving the argument moving forward. Thanks for your question.
And we did answer this one already. Thank you, Hanky. Can't do that.
Oh,
By Bob Alessi.
he's a disgusting
Yeah.
weasel.
And his comment from Technical Out. Thank you so much, Technical Out.
Thank
I'm
you.
trying to find that one from Josie. Here's the one Josie was talking about. She says, Nan's greatness, her heart and soul is reflected so beautiful in her demeanor and statement. She is so soothing in her calming tone, the perfect dose for all of us to keep our hopes and faith up.
You should hear me yell at my kids and adversaries. But thank you, Josie Lou.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
And I just I'm trying to get them all up tonight. I hope people don't get mad if I don't get them.
Yep, you got this one already. And guys, even if they don't get seen, your donation will go a long way. So I appreciate it. I'm
Baby
just
Fishes.
inverted grifting right now. I love it.
Yeah. Baby Fishes says Leslie's long statements must be how he organizes his brain. How can Bev make him change?
Honestly, I agree with you. That's the way he thinks and argues. I'm very similar in terms of my methodology, how I present arguments, maybe not so long, but even when he says, I'm going to start here, go here, and end there, I find that incredibly comforting from just a neurocognitive way. You know, she can't. And when she kind of implied that he's got to truncate how he argues, give me a break. She let Brennan go on and on and on in an improper manner. So she can't do that. And you know what? He should take his sweet time because he's got to make a record. It's kind of like AJ said during some recent arguments and during 1.0. He's like, you know, if you'd allow me to make a record, because we actually don't care what you say now, Bev, because we know you're going to rule opposite to what we're asking for. So at this point, we're just more concerned about the appeal that we hope we never have to file because you're making these improper rulings.
Oh, so it's all about the appeal if she loses.
If
Uh,
she loses.
yeah. Deanne H said Nan match. They keep coming in. They just keep coming in. I can't keep up with them all. This is crazy. This Kelly, she says, Dan match. Gotta call out Brady's tar and feather argument, chef's kiss and troublemaker, only Nan, inverted grifter turned window intimidator. Haha, can we please play Auntie Deb's only Nan rap? You have an only Nan rap now. That's amazing.
I think it's so funny. But by the way, like I love that kind of stuff. I've got like people are making me songs, people are making me video montages. There's a little montage of Auntie Deb interviewing me, which I laugh at. Like I'm not in this for fame, but I am in this for humor because this is
Funny. It
so
is funny.
morbid, you know?
I love that I'm now because of you. I'm now Dana Carvey.
Well,
I
it's
am
funny.
a Garth from Wayne's World. I need the blonde wig and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to be yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny now that my bangs are starting to grow back in a little bit because I'd only recently cut them before first came on your show. But now that they're kind of growing back in a little bit, you know, people are now saying, "Oh, maybe you don't look like Jenny Garth anymore, or maybe you look like Tori Spelling." Then I saw something today on Twitter that said that they were casting for
They were
the
casting us.
movie, and someone said that what's her name? The woman who's married to the Donnie Wahlberg.
Oh, Jenny McCarthy.
Yeah, like that she would play me. It's ridiculous. So funny.
Barbie Two Bits says, "Do you suppose comparing Karen's phone to John's phone concerning motion detection, driving car, stair climbing, is a good idea?"
I do. Candidly, I asked that question recently of someone who has involvement in Massachusetts law up there, and they disagreed with me. I do think that that would be helpful if you're going to juxtapose Karen's technology, whether it's her phone, her Apple Watch, with John's. That to me is like apples to apples. If it's the climbing of stairs, if it's something to refute the going up and down hills, which I still laugh every time at Aiden's video where he says, "Look out for the hill, kid!" Like on the flattest road of America.
Yeah,
I think that would
funny.
be very helpful and something that a lay jury can relate to.
Definitely. Lizzie says, "Free Karen Reed. Love you guys. Grift away. Thank you so much, Lizzie."
Thank you.
Mary Malaki sent $10. She says, "Hi, attorney. Nan, what are your thoughts on more visuals, PowerPoints, maps, celebrate timelines for the jurors? I feel it helped much in Murdaugh. What do you think about that?
I do.
Visuals.
They will, and I don't know this firsthand, but I'm predicting you will see many, many more demonstratives. And the defense should be astute enough to know that Bev will scrutinize them
Yeah.
with a
Yeah.
critical eye.
If it's for the defense, not the prosecution.
Exactly.
Mary Malaki, I love that name. Malaki. Thank you,
I love
Mary Malaki. I love her. A boy named Sua Sponti sent some money, 4.99. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tactical out. She says, "I'm really Piney Woods Law and Crime. Great show. You should
Are
hit
you
me up."
really? Are you
Yeah.
really Piney Woods? And why are you
Yeah.
technical out?
Yeah. I would like to Piney Woods, hit me up. Uh Gigi of 3 says, "Sorry, Nan, love you and Mike." Thank you so much, Gigi of 3. They just keep coming in. It's
That's good.
crazy. Jody 617 says $20. She says, "Positive thoughts and prayers for Karen, her family, and the dream team. They got this, we got them."
That's great, guys. Now I'm gonna alert all of you who are listening. I'm going to be hopping off in
You gotta
like
go. Are you going? I've got a question. Are you going to the Canton Chronicle? Is that where you're going right now? I have a feeling. No? Where are you? You have family or a show? You doing another show? What show?
I have been asked to join the Glarer this evening to give a recap of I hate to say our trip because I actually didn't know he was going, but to give a recap of our experiences in person up there. So I will be joining the Glare at 7:30, and in the meantime, we'll probably eat a little bit of dinner. And
I hope you get time for dinner. That's the key. You gotta.
well, I made my family dinner before I hopped on with you, but I wanted to just say this to you, Mike, due to besides for the and I'm sorry for the technological difficulty on my end, but I very much want to thank you for moving the time for me anyway, because it is very, very accommodating to me today. So thank you. You are
Oh,
such a
I'm
sweet
glad I
guy.
could. But
Yeah.
then I screwed it up. That was so funny.
So did
This worked out good though. We stuck through it. You and I both, just kept going until
pushing
we got
through.
it together, and it worked. And look at all these super chats coming in. I mean, you're just blowing it up and raising more money for Karen Reed today.
And Aiden. And before I forget, guys, you might want to stop giving the Young Jerks donations because I am hopping off. So,
Yeah.
but I also wanted to say, Mike, you and I at some point, I don't know how it works, but we'll square it away as soon as possible for you, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, I'll count them up after the show and we'll figure it out. There's Kim just sent 9.99 too. Amazing. I love Nurse Kim. She's raising money all the time too. Another 49.9. You could, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of money here.
Ooh, are you getting worried for me like Will
I
was?
am. I'm getting
I might
worried about
have
you.
to,
I
like
hope your husband doesn't crack down.
I might, like the trolls say, I might bankrupt my family and
Yeah,
have to collect food stamps and, you know. Hey, to all you
unbelievable.
trolls watching, I'm a bad boss. I work very hard. I do my job well. I have a very successful practice, and you can't come for me. And if I want to match chats or I want to make donations of my own free will, I'm going to keep showing up. And I'm even going to keep showing up in Dedham, and you can't stop me.
There you
So
go. And thank you so much. This is great. I'm so glad you were here tonight.
thank you.
Please come again. This is like you said, your fourth time. We're gonna make it number 5 soon. Maybe next Sunday. Sunday's like our thing right now. It's the second Sunday in a row.
We shall see. It might happen. Although, honestly, maybe during the day. Maybe
Yes.
during the day.
Oh, I like daytimes. We did last time daytime, Sunday daytime. That was fun actually.
I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy doing 3 last Sunday.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
so
crazy, right?
but I had to wedge them all in because I knew I was leaving in the morning to go to Massachusetts. But we'll make it work, Mike. I'm always whenever you ask and I'm available, I'll always come back.
Thank
So
you for sticking it out tonight. Thank you so much, and have fun on the glare tonight.
thank you guys. Keep
Thank you,
showing up.
Nan.
All my best. Bye,
Have a great
guys.
night.
Take
Bye
care.
now.
Bye.
We'll get another super sticker that came in. This is wild. Thank you so much, Nan Gallagher. I want to make sure I get all the super chats up tonight. I want to check and see if people have been donating to Karen Reed and Turtle Boy Defense. Again, we got some new stickers we're giving away. We got some. I got them upside down again. Of course I do. This is one of the new stickers, and then we got this one too. And we also got the Young Jelly stickers that are coming in. We got some 3M stickers. We got Young Jerks. If you make a donation tonight to the Karen Reed Defense Fund or the Turtle Boy Defense Fund directly, take a screen capture, send it over, email. It's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Tell us which sticker or stickers you want. $5 minimum donation. If you want 2 stickers, send $10. It's right directly to the Karen Reed or Turtle Boy Defense Fund. Send a screen capture, MJC Boston 1 at yahoo.com, or you can send it directly to our Twitter or our Facebook. Uh, please, please, I want to see more money raised. This was amazing that you were doing all the super chats tonight that are matched after that point for Only Nan. That was great. I'm going to take a quick little break. It's going to be quick. I'm going to be back in like 1 minute, 2 minutes maybe. And then I'm going to go read some of the super chats and some of the donations and go through that. So just give me like a minute. I'll be right back. I promise. Don't leave. Please don't leave. All right. So Wednesday night, we're going to do another fundraiser as well for Karen Reed and Turtle Boy. Really looking forward to raising more money for both of those defense funds. And tonight there were matches. It was amazing. She was matching the super chats at a certain point. So we definitely raised some money for the funds tonight. I want to thank everyone who's been donating and all the super chats tonight. Thank you, No6116. Thank you, IF. Thank you all. I'm going to try to post them all. There's a lot of them. I hope I posted most of them already, if not all. But definitely going to repost them all. Before we go, definitely want to check the Turtle Boy Defense Fund and the Karen Reed Defense Fund because I'm starting to see some donations. An anonymous giver just gave $10 on the Turtle Boy Defense Fund. Hashtag the Young Jerks. Thank you so much. Let's get those on the screen. Hold on one second here. Awesome. Thank you so much for the donation on the Turtle Boy Defense Fund. Make sure you send me that screen capture. Nisi sent $10 on the Turtle Boy Defense Fund as well. That was actually 7 hours ago, so it looks like maybe not tonight. I see Calling All Beings made a donation last night too. He's been raising money. Great job, DJ. And let's bring up the Karen Reed Defense Fund. See a lot of donations coming in there too. It looks like a lot of new donations. I'm not sure they're exactly from the Young Jerks because I don't see any of them labeled, but they're all new. So that either way, I'm excited, right? I mean, it's yeah, here's one. Anonymous said Young Jerks 3M sticker. They want a 3M sticker. I see some Mazda ones from earlier today too. So if you can donate to the Karen Reed Defense Fund or Turtle Boy Defense Fund, and you want one of our stickers tonight, please do so. MJC Boston 1 at yahoo.com. It's scrolling at the bottom of our screen right now. Like I said, the Young Jelly stickers are coming in too. All right. I want to thank all the super chats tonight. Nurse Kim. Thank you. Vix Logic. I think we posted that one earlier, hopefully. Mostly Peaceful Redhead. Thank you. Thank you, GA Mom. GA Mom. GA Mom. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bev's Bongs. LOL, no tampering. Clerk Jim Clown. Thank you. Thank you, Jody617. Thank you, Gigi of 3. Thank you, Technical Out, who's also Piney Woods Law and Crime. Thank you, a boy named Sue Esponte. Thank you, Mary Malaki. Mary Malaki. I love that one. Lizzie. Thank you, Lizzie. And Barbara's 2 bits. Thank you so much. We said this one. Kelly, if Chloe bit you, you must have quit. Thank you, Baby Fishes. And Deanna H. Thank you so much. Nick Nack. I think I got that right this time. Thank you, Pokey SD. Thank you, RBG. And Joanne and Technical Out. And Emmy. Thank you, Carl Johnson. And Paul's Court hand signs. Thank you so much. Leslie's binder is better than Brennan's binder. Is greater than I love that one. That's a good one. The Ducky continues. Thank you. Thank you to the Goodmans. They gifted 1 year, 1 Young Jerks membership. Try to lose it tonight. Thank you. The Duckery continues. I think I got that one right the second time. Thank you, Karen Lisk, Kelly Steffi, Lindsay Tyler, Deborah Claire. Thank you. Thank you, Bill Frittenberg. Tanya tonight. Thank you so much. Mallory Elise. Thank you. Thank you, Tuchman Family Fun and Resale. Thank you, Kelly Steffi. Thank you, Jenna Brown and Bev's Bad Bladder. Thank you, Forrest Dump. Not me 45. Crystal. Thank you. Jazzy 1969. Bev's Cognitive Issues. Thank you. Joanna Marie. Thank you so much. Coca. Thank you. I'm just a girl in the world. Thank you. Thank you, Josie Lou. And Magnolia Gypsy and Natalie. Thank you so much, Natalie. And A. This is where the Dan super chat started with A. Hank Morrissey, Canoni, thank you, Proctor's time in the big house. Thank you. This one, Hanky Can't Do That by Bob Alessi. Mr. Meathook, thank you. I think I got all of these up. John, Carrie, I think I got all of them up, hopefully. Arena, thank you. Thank you, Sinbad 33. Thank you, Mr. Monk's Underbelly. Thank you, Amor, Alessi, Coffee Cake, thank you. Angelica, thank you, Raven Hilt. Thank you, Chrissy. Thank you, Forrest Dump. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you to all our moderators, Sarah, Jen, MJ, Stephanie. They say I'm on. What am I? I'm losing my mind. I am. I'm totally losing it today. And thank you, Laferio. I think I'm almost done though. I'm just a girl in the world. Thank you so much. Let me make sure there's no more super chats. I think there are. IF, thank you. I think I got that one up, maybe. And Mama She 13. Thank you. And thank you to all our moderators. Again, Sarah. I don't know why I keep saying Steph. What am I doing tonight? Sarah, Jen, MJ, Stephanie. Did I get them all right? Yes, I did. And Scott McGinnis. Thank you, Mike and Mods. Exactly. Great show, Mike. Mostly. It was pretty good once we get going, but the start was funny. That was a new way to screw up a show. Thank you so much, Janice. Sometimes it gets like that over here. Too many. You see the problem? Then people get upset when you don't read them. It's like it's hard to read all the super chats. That's not I mean, I'm not complaining. I love it actually. It's amazing. It's an amazing problem to have. But especially when you have someone you're interviewing as well. It's hard to do when you're just doing the show by yourself when you have that many super chats, it's hard to read them just for yourself, never mind having a guest too. So I hope people understand. I try to bring them up. I try to read them, but it's very difficult when you have a guest. And it's a live show too. And you have me behind the board producing. You saw me tonight. I made some mistakes. Oh, I love that. Thank you, Mama She. She said, I donated to Karen. I didn't want Nan to have to match me. Oh, you are so nice. Thank you, Mama She. That's the thing tonight. We're doing the Karen Reed and Turtle Boy Defense Fund sticker giveaway. If you want a sticker, hit us up. Make a donation, $5 or more. Karen Reed or Turtle Boy Defense Fund or both. If you want more than one sticker, $5 per sticker. Send a screen capture of your donation to mjcboston1@yahoo.com or hit us up on Twitter or Twitter or our Facebook page and send along your mailing address so I can mail them out to you. Right, tomorrow night, Happily Angry Lawyer is going to be here live, 6 p.m. I'm looking forward to that tomorrow night. It's going to be fun. I hope you're here, 6 p.m. tomorrow night. And Wednesday night, we have a huge show. Going to be another Karen Reed Turtle Boy fundraiser with Mazza Media, LTL Media, and some others. Going to be fun. Going to have a panel show Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Thursday night, we do have attorney Andrea Burkhardt here. Going to be fun. And on Friday, we have another guest I'm going to announce soon, too. So please come back. If you haven't, please like and subscribe on your way out. Awesome. I love seeing all the donations. A lot of people have been making donations. And I understand tonight if we don't raise as much because some of you have been giving, especially watching all the other shows, too. If you're all donated out, it's totally understandable. That's a good thing. You've already done your work. But if you haven't donated, especially if you haven't donated before, this is a good time to do so. You get one of the great stickers here that we have. So again, we'll see you tomorrow night with Happily Angry Lawyer. He's going to be here at 6 p.m. First time on the show. I'm looking forward to it. Have a great night, everyone. And next week, again, we have, I said this earlier, we have Massachusetts State Auditor Dinah DeZoglio coming back on the show next week. Oh, I'm headed out. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night. We'll see you soon. Have a great start to your week. We'll see you.